From the 17th of August, Google is changing how target CPA and target ROAS campaigns behave when they're limited by budget. If you're currently getting a much better CPA or ROAS than the target setting inside your campaign, this is something you need to pay attention to now, because after this change, Google is likely to treat your target far more literally. That could mean paying more per conversion, generating less revenue for every pound spent, and generating far fewer conversions from the same limited budget. So in this video, I'll explain what's changing, why some campaigns currently outperform their targets, which campaigns you need to review, and what you should do before the changes take effect. Let's start with a simple example. Suppose you have a campaign with a target CPA of £50. However, over the past few months, the campaign has actually been generating conversions for £30. At the moment, if that campaign is limited by budget, Google is concentrating the available budget on cheaper opportunities in the auction. So although your target says £50, the campaign may continue trying to deliver conversions for less. After the 17th of August, that's all going to stop. Google says campaigns will begin working more closely towards the target you've set. Now that's great for stability, but it also means your current £30 CPA will begin to increase towards £50. The same principle applies to target ROAS. Let me show you a real example in a live account. Here we have a Performance Max campaign. The target ROAS is set at 330%. Google's average target that it's trying to aim for is 494%, and it's achieving 436%. If I do nothing, if I leave that target ROAS at 330%, from the 17th of August, Google will start trying to get conversions closer to 330%. That means my current ROAS of 436% is going to start going down. I'll actually be losing money if I do nothing. So why do limited campaigns currently outperform in the first place? The important point here is the limited budget. At the moment, when a campaign is restricted by the daily budget, Google has to decide how to use that limited amount of money. It may prioritize auctions likely to produce the cheapest conversions and the strongest returns. And by the way, this is also why the quality of some conversions is lower than you might want. In this situation, where the campaign is limited by budget, your target CPA or target ROAS can behave more like a maximum acceptable threshold rather than the precise result you want Google to deliver. For example, imagine your campaign has a £50 target CPA and a £100 daily budget. If Google can currently find conversions for £25 each, you could potentially receive 4 conversions from that £100. After the change, Google may be more willing to enter expensive auctions and spend closer to the £50 CPA you've entered, with the same £100 daily budget. That could mean receiving just 2 conversions rather than 4. The reason Google is doing this is to give advertisers more stability when campaigns are limited by budget but ready to scale. What currently can happen is you're getting conversions at a lower CPA or higher ROAS than your target, so you add more budget to scale. But what you see is an increase in your CPA or a reduction in your ROAS because Google is entering more expensive auctions for you. It's historically been unpredictable, and this change is meant to stabilize this effect, which should be a good thing, but only if your settings are right. Now, there are 2 separate considerations here. How efficient do you need your campaigns to be? And how much money are you willing and able to spend at that level of efficiency? Whatever you do, don't jump in and look at your recent CPA or ROAS and just change your target to match it, as it will likely confuse and crush your campaign. While the figure might be appropriate for you, the last 30 days may have included a seasonal increase in demand, a sale or promotion, a bank holiday, a strong product launch, or a temporary reduction in competition. For some businesses, 30 days might provide plenty of data. For others, particularly lower volume lead generation accounts, you might need to review 60 or 90 days and consider any recent changes in the market or the business. If you find you're genuinely happy with the ROAS or CPA, you've been achieving over that period, and you've ruled out any external factors that influenced it, then go ahead and start gradually adjusting the targets to match. I'd also ask you, do you know what financially makes sense as a figure for your target? For target CPA, you need to genuinely understand what you can afford to pay per conversion. For lead generation businesses, that should account for the percentage of leads that become customers, the average customer value, the gross profit from each customer, sales and fulfillment costs, and the proportion of profit you're prepared to invest in acquiring a new customer. For example, imagine 1 in 5 leads becomes a customer, a 20% lead to sale rate. If the gross profit from an average new customer is £500, each lead is worth an average of £100 in gross profit before other costs. That doesn't necessarily mean you can afford to pay £100 CPA. You still need to account for overheads, fulfillment, staff time, and the profit the business needs to retain. But it gives you a good commercial starting point. For target ROAS, you need to understand your margins. A 300% ROAS means generating £3 in revenue for every £1 spent. That might be highly profitable for a business with strong margins. It could be far less so for a retailer with narrow margins, high delivery costs, or frequent returns. Your ideal target ROAS should reflect gross margin, cost of goods, shipping and fulfillment, transaction charges, returns, agency or internal marketing costs, and new versus returning customer value, among other factors. The objective isn't to achieve the highest possible number on the screen, it's to achieve the best commercially sustainable balance between profit and volume. So which campaigns do you need to look at? Google's own write-up on this says that app campaigns, video reach campaigns, and video view campaigns will continue using previous bidding behavior, but all other campaign types will be changed. It's also worth noting that hotel and display campaigns already have the new bidding behavior. I'll put a link to their update in the description below if you want to take a look. The immediate impact applies to campaigns that use a target CPA or target ROAS bidding strategy and are currently limited by budget or are currently spending close to their budget, since these could easily tip into limited budget status due to changes in demand, search volume rises, competition may change, and so on. It's safe to say you should no longer assume that because a campaign is outperforming its target today, that stronger performance will be protected if the campaign becomes limited by budget tomorrow. It's better to make sure your targets reflect the outcomes you genuinely want. Please, go and do this right now. Identify the campaigns using target CPA or target ROAS. Check which of those campaigns are currently limited by budget. For each one, check the target and compare that to the actual recent CPA or ROAS. Ask yourself, what CPA or ROAS do I need for this to be profitable and sustainable? Was the achieved CPA or ROAS influenced by recent conditions? Are all of the conversion values being passed into Google accurately? This comes down to your tracking. If your tracking is out, everything is out. Once you understand your numbers, you've got 2 options. Number 1, increase the budget. If you're genuinely comfortable with the existing target and the campaign is producing profitable results, increasing the budget allows Google to generate more volume by entering more auctions. Number 2, adjust the target. If the campaign's target is too low, you might need to move it closer to something more efficient for the business. Don't do this as a dramatic change in one step. Going back to my earlier example, the target ROAS is 330% and it's achieving 436%. I won't change immediately to 436%. A better approach is to step it up gradually, increase it to say 360%, give it a week, then increase it to 390%, give it another week, then move it up again. The risk of changing it all in one go is that it completely upsets the algorithm and it won't know how to achieve those targets. This change also has a potential impact beyond your own account. Imagine 10 businesses all competing for the same keyword, say 10 IT companies, with nobody else in the auction. All 10 have a £50 target CPA, but have historically achieved £30 because their campaigns are limited by budget. If none of them do anything, Google will increase the prices in the auction for all 10 until it meets that £50 target CPA. Everybody ends up paying a much higher CPA than they have historically because Google is now aiming for the target rather than for efficiency. Because everyone's still limited by budget, the number of conversions each business receives drops too. The overall impact is that Google advertising becomes more expensive across the board, a real impact for smaller companies as well as larger ones. This is exactly why it's so important that you understand your own targets. What's commercially acceptable for your business? Set your targets accordingly and you'll get Google working for you, not against you. If you're spending money on Google Ads and you're not completely confident your account is working as hard as it should, I offer a proper hands-on account audit. And yes, it's me who does it. You're not being passed to a junior, an outsourced team, or someone you've never spoken to. Having managed more than £23 million in Google Ads across lead generation and e-commerce accounts in the UK and internationally, I look at what's working, what's wasting money, where you may be losing conversions, whether your bidding strategy makes commercial sense, and where there may be opportunities to improve performance based on what your business is trying to achieve. So if you'd like me to take a look at your Google Ads account, you'll find the link to my audit in the description below. And if not, remember to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.